again. Hey guys, we are live. We are tracking the Conor Lamb, the Pennsylvania 18th District.
Conor Lamb versus Rick Saccone. It's going to be pretty exciting, I think.
Yeah, already there's results coming in. Right now, Lamb's up by a wide margin, but Allegheny County is reporting the most, and we are live. Hold on, let me getting some feedback here. Hold on just a second. Allegheny County is reporting the most, and they are more heavily favored towards the Democrats. So you really can't go by what's being reported, the numbers being reported quite yet.
I think we still have a little ways to go before we actually know how close of a race this is going to be. It's supposed to be pretty close.
Yeah, it's pretty much a toss-up right now. Lamb is ahead more than some probably would have expected at this point, but you can't really. There's only 1% of precincts reporting, slightly over 1%. Slightly over 10% of precincts reporting. So it could really go either way, but right now there's 76 out of 593 precincts reporting, and things are looking quite favorable for Lamb. But, don't get too excited.
Trump won this district by 20 points. So Rick Saccone was heavily favored up until just recently when Lamb started making up ground. Lamb's really a strong candidate for Democrats, I feel. I feel that Lamb is he can kind of get a lot of Republicans on his side, given he's an ex-military.
Well, and he's taking a lot of Republican stances or moderate stances. He's against abortion, but he's for the right to choose. So that's really dragging some Republicans over. Trump's.
Well, he's a likable guy. Conor Lamb's a likable guy. He's a good-looking younger candidate. He's a good family man. He was in the military, like I said. His ideologies are pretty moderate. They're pretty close to some more moderate Republicans. So he really has a solid chance in this district in Pennsylvania. It's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, one of the things that we have to look for in the early going is the returns from Allegheny County versus the returns from Westmoreland. Allegheny has more of a Democratic base, where Westmoreland is more Republican.
And Green's also Republican, right?
So yeah, I believe he's also a Republican. But if the turnout in Allegheny is up over other years, then that's very positive for Conor Lamb. Also, something to consider is how these how many votes were received in other elections. As you know, Tim Murphy was the guy that stepped down that actually led to this election, this special election. Typically,
Murphy got a lot of votes. Am I correct? When Murphy ran?
Murphy. Well, the last two elections in 2014 and 2016, no one ran against him. No Democrat ran against him. But prior to that, he won by 64% in 2012, and he won by 67%. He won with 67% of the vote in 2010. Prior to that, it was 64%.
So I mean, we're looking at like a 30-plus point win. And then Trump won this district by over 20 points. Mitt Romney won by a ton. So we're looking at a heavily Republican district as far as voting goes.
Oh, absolutely. So I always said if Lamb came within 3 points and lost, it would be an upset for the Republicans, or it would be an upset for the Democrats, and it would be a bad sign for the Republicans moving forward. If he could win this,
Lamb actually appears to have a shot tonight, so this is pretty exciting.
Yeah, so right now there are 94 out of 593 precincts reporting. Right now, Conor Lamb has 16,982 votes versus only 11,769 votes by Saccone. Now, it's important to realize that Allegheny County is reporting more townships and cities than any other county right now. So that's going to weigh heavier.
They're a heavy Democratic district, so it's really hard to tell. You can't gauge. I mean, Lamb's up by 18 points right now, but you can't really gauge too much right now.
The thing you have to consider is that Westmoreland County has yet to report any votes at all, and that's one that's going to favor Saccone by quite a bit. Actually, right now,
the New York Times actually has Saccone in the lead based on predictions.
Based on what counties and what townships are reporting right now.
They say 53% chance that Saccone's going to win so far. So it's really close still. And I mean, we can't really gauge anything until we see more details and more stats.
Yeah. Now let's look at how many votes. For instance, right now, how many votes are in? We have just over 34,000, almost 35,000 votes are in. Right now, if you look at 2010, which was the last election that the Republicans ran against the Democrat, that was not a presidential election. There was a total of 240,000 votes. So right now, with 12%, what is it?
Well, what about 2012? Wasn't there a Democrat?
In 2012, Murphy didn't run against anybody. In 2014, he also didn't run against anybody.
Okay, I see. Isn't that?
I'm sorry, yeah.
2012 is the last year that a Democrat ran against Tim Murphy, and in 2012 there were 338,000 votes cast.
Yeah, so, and Murphy won with 64 to 36%, which was a 28-point margin, which is quite staggering when you consider how close this race is.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're looking at Conor Lamb having 57.9% of the vote and Rick Saccone 41.6%, but this is a heavily Democratic district, so right now Rick Saccone is technically in the lead if you go by the New York Times prediction analytics.
And basically what they do here is they go city by city, township by township, and figure out which of these counties are favoring Saccone, that Lamb might be ahead more, sure. And then which are the counties are favoring Lamb that Saccone might be ahead more. Right now, Saccone is in the lead by that metric.
So let me ask you this, Brian. How long do you think it's going to be until we actually know who the winner most likely is? Do you think that's going to be within the next 10 minutes, the next hour, the next 2 hours? How long do you think it's going to be until we actually know?
Results are coming in pretty fast. I mean, they started trickling in around 8:30, 8:20. And right now we have almost 20% of the precincts are reporting. So I would think sometime in the next hour or so, we should have a pretty good feeling of where this is going.
The polls closed about 2 hours ago, correct? At 7 o'clock?
The polls closed at 8 o'clock.
At 8 o'clock, okay. So the polls closed an hour ago. So the votes are actually just being tabulated right now. They're coming in. So like Brian said, within the next hour, we should know who the winner is here. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be right down to the line. Now, keep in mind you can tweet at us with hashtag Krassenstein Live, and we'll get to your questions and comments throughout the show tonight.
I mean, there's going to be some boring parts where we're just waiting for results to come in, so bear with us if you get a little bit bored here.
So we do have a few comments right now on Twitter. Christine says, "This gives me a lot of hope that America hasn't gone completely crazy." I agree. The fact that Conor Lamb actually has a shot in this election shows that there's people who are sort of turning against Trump. Helen KP says, "Conor Lamb, the entire country is depending on a big win for Blue Wave 2018," and this would be a huge win if Conor Lamb can actually pull this off. I think it'll be huge, not just for Pennsylvania, but for the whole country. And I think it'll get momentum behind the blue wave. I think it would help push the blue wave forward.
Well, what I was saying earlier was if Lamb lost by 3 points, it would still be quite a warning for Republicans. It wouldn't be a victory for Democrats because, of course, you have another Republican that's going to be in the House.
Well, not another one. It would basically be the same number of seats as Murphy, who resigned, was a Republican. So basically, if Saccone takes a seat, it's keeping everything the way they were. But if Lamb can actually win this, it's going to take a seat away from the Republicans and put it in favor of the Democrats, although Democrats are still way behind the Republicans as far as seats go. But the midterms coming up in November, that's when Democrats are hoping to take the majority of the House, and that would be huge if they can, because that has a lot of implications when it comes to impeachment of Trump or preventing Trump from actually moving forward with certain policies. So it's huge. It really is.
All right. So right now we have just over 41,000 votes counted. Conor Lamb has 51.1%, while Saccone has 42.3%. But as we said before, Allegheny County is reporting quite a few more cities and townships than any of the other counties, and Allegheny is typically more Democrat. It's right on the outskirts of Pittsburgh, so you're gonna have it skewed more towards Lamb right now. So you can't really go by these numbers. We have 21% of 21% of the precincts are reported.
Right.
So we have a ways to go.
So what is the New York Times predicting now? Right now they're saying 64% chance that Saccone's going to win. So it's looking like things are starting to go in the direction of Saccone right now. It's still early though.
One thing that you got to keep in mind is that we have nothing at all from Westmoreland County, and that Westmoreland County that is quite heavily tilted towards the Republicans. So we can't really tell. Once Westmoreland starts reporting, and if the turnout is down, then that's going to go in Lamb's favor. If the turnout's up, then it's going to go in Saccone's favor.
No, Brian, I want to ask you this. Trump has been focusing a lot on steel tariffs over the past couple of weeks. Do you think that has anything to do with this election, since Pennsylvania is such a steel state, and this district has a lot of influence in the steel industry?
I think that could have been one of the major reasons he rolled out these tariffs right before this election. Something to note, though, is that the steel unions are pulling for Lamb.
Yeah, the United Miners are actually endorsing Conor Lamb, which is surprising to me. That's not steel, but it's the coal miners.
Yeah,
and they're actually endorsing Lamb.
Well, it's unions.
It's the unions, and Conor Lamb is very pro-union, so that plays a lot in his favor.
Yeah. So right now we've gotten a few more votes in. Right now we have approximately 52,300 votes. 26% of the precincts are reporting. Lamb's lead has increased 56.7% to 42.8%. We still don't have any votes tallied from Westmoreland County, which is a Republican-favored county.
Yeah.
So we still don't until those cities and townships.
It's gonna be hard to tell.
Yeah, we're not gonna really.
I'm gonna take a few more questions and comments from Twitter. Remember, if you want to comment on this video or ask any questions, you can tweet at us with #Krassenstein Live right above Brian's head over here. Demon Force says, at what point do GOP supporters realize real Donald Trump or President Donald Trump will eventually be replaced, and they will be accountable for the mess he leaves behind? You know, it's really hard to say anything about that. We don't know for sure if he's going to be replaced. I think if the Democrats take over the House, there's a greater likelihood that he'll be impeached. If the Democrats don't take over the House, it's very unlikely that he will be impeached. It's very unlikely he'll be impeached.
That's why this election and the ones coming up in November are so important. Republicans did not expect that they could even possibly lose this one. So if Lamb does pull out a victory here, it's going to be a tremendous upset for Republicans. It's going to be interesting to see how Trump reacts. If Trump tries to separate himself from Saccone, or if he just doesn't say anything.
On the other side of things, how do you think it's going to go if Saccone wins this election? Do you think Trump's going to be bragging about it? Do you think he's going to...
If Saccone wins by 1 point, he's going to be bragging about it, I guarantee you.
All right, so let's take another question on Twitter. Nina Espina, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name right, I'm probably not. You say, don't you think the results are good because Lamb ran a smart ground game and related well to the constituents there? He is a Dem of years ago, blue-collar representative. Thoughts? I kind of agree. Like, we don't know. In the Republican districts, Lamb might actually get a lot of votes. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. And like the New York Times is predicting, they're predicting based on past results. And I think Lamb actually is going to grab a lot of those Republican votes. So I don't know how accurate these predictions are going to be.
A lot of I've been reading a lot throughout the day, reports from people in the 18th district. They've been contacting me, and I've been reaching out to them. And from what I can tell, from what I've heard, a lot of Democrats are excited about being able to have a voice, and they've been. For instance, I was reading one individual from I think it was Allegheny County. They said that everybody around me is Republicans, but every Republican I know is voting for Lamb.
That's going to be super. So when you talk about Westmoreland County, you're saying this is a highly Republican county. So that might weigh against Lamb, but we don't know. This might actually be a lot closer than we think. And right now, the New York Times is predicting that Conor Lamb's going to be the winner by a margin of 52%. So things have shifted back to the blue, and Lamb's now in the lead.
Yeah, let me just correct you. The margin isn't 52%. The chance of Lamb winning is 52% right now. The margin's 0.03%, 0.3%. So what Eddie is saying, basically, the New York Times, their algorithm here that they're making these estimates from is basically counting Westmoreland County as almost all Republicans.
It's looking at historical votes.
Whereas a lot of Republicans might be shifting to Lamb here.
Yes, exactly. Because he's a very moderate candidate, and people who want to protect this country, protect their district from President Trump. Some people are realizing, okay, President Trump's not the man who we elected. He's not actually representing us. So we want to kind of put a Democrat who has moderate views, who's still looking after us in Congress, to stand up against Trump and stand up for our values, the values of this district in Pennsylvania. And I think that's going to play a huge role in this election. I think we're going to see that as time goes on. I'm going to take a few more comments and questions from Twitter. Shadow Sleeper says, Lamb is more in the middle. Do you think the Dems' strategy should be to have more candidates like Lamb in other elections? And I think the Democrats need more moderates. I think that's going to help them win.
I think it's going to depend on what areas of the country. But I do think that a more moderate Democrat is going to give them more seats in the House and the Senate,
especially in Republican districts. You're going to need moderate Democratic candidates. But in left-leaning districts, typical Democrats going to probably cut it.
Yeah, and you can't pick Democrats who are going to vote with Republicans on key issues. So it's kind of a touch and go situation. You don't really know what way to take it.
And I think Conor Lamb really does represent this district in Pennsylvania quite well. I think he's very moderate, and I think he represents probably a majority.
Yeah, I agree. So right now we have 73,700 votes in. This represents a little bit over a third of the precincts. So we're getting up there. 38% of the precincts are reporting now. Conor Lamb has 39,894 votes with 54.1% of the votes. Rick Saccone has 33,411 votes, which is 45.3%. So Conor Lamb right now is up by 8.8%. But once again, we don't have Westmoreland County reporting anything at all right now.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the important county. Once we start seeing votes coming in there, we're going to be able to get a really solid idea of which direction this is going to go. And that could be within the next 10 minutes or so, I think.
Yeah, it's something that is interesting to look at, though, is Allegheny County borders Westmoreland, and the cities bordering Westmoreland are clearly Republican right now. But they are not going as red as some might have thought.
That's true. All right, I'll take another comment here. EU citizen anti-Brexit says, the brothers Krassenstein, that would be us, Brian and me, Ed, have just hinted that Donald Trump raising steel tariffs may be linked to Conor Lamb for Congress election, and the fact that Pittsburgh is a hotbed of voters in the very election who may then vote for a Republican. So that's a comment basically reinforcing what I said. And, that's just an idea we threw out there. I think it has played a big role. I think I think he saw this special election coming up.
I think it's played a big role on his part, but I don't really think it's going to sway too many.
No, I don't think it's going to sway voters. But I think he threw everything out there. He wants this House seat. He wants it badly. For those who don't know us, I'm Ed Krassenstein, and this is Brian Krassenstein. I know we have 6,000 people watching us right now. You can follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handles are down here. We basically just tweet political stuff. We're not very supportive of Donald Trump, so we tweet a lot of anti-Trump stuff, so feel free to follow us. I'm going to take another question on Twitter. Shadow Sleeper says, I'm sorry, I already did that one. Let me see. Suzanne H says, there were the keywords probably going to cut it. Moderate Democrats will be able to keep the blue wave going, but if you want to go over the major liberal, yeah, we will have issues. We need to stay moderate until we put ourselves back in the driver's seat. And that's an excellent point. I think right now the best we can hope for is more moderates, whether they're Republicans or Democrats. We need to bring the country together, so we don't want anybody too far to the left or too far to the right. We just need people in the middle who are willing to work together again. I think that's what the important part is. We need people who are willing to work together. Right now, that's not what we're getting in the House of Representatives. So, any updates here, Brian?
Right now we are at 88,000, so we got a giant bump. We're almost at 50%. We're at 45% of the precincts reporting. 88,000 votes are in right now. Conor Lamb has 47,370 votes at 53.6%. And Rick Saccone has 40,386 at 45.7%. So right there is a 7.9% lead by Conor Lamb. The New York Times is actually predicting that Lamb has a 52% chance of winning.
And very slightly in the favor of Lamb, and it's very close. Like they're not predicting anyone, but if they had to, they'd say Lamb. Basically, that's what they're saying.
And just remember, this could really come down to the last few thousand votes easily.
I think it's going to come down to it's going to be very close. We saw how close the Trump-Hillary election was. I think this is going to be along those same lines.
Yeah, I think that probably in the next 10 minutes or so, we'll start getting some results from Westmoreland County, and that's going to really give us a better view at what these next 20 minutes or so are going to shape up. How these next 20 minutes are going to shape out.
Once Westmoreland County comes in, I think that's when we're going to really know what's happening. And I think until that happens, we're not really going to know for sure. Like New York Times, they're saying 52% chance that Conor Lamb's going to win, but it's really way too close to tell right now.
So let's go back and just kind of compare what's happening right now. Of course, we don't have all the counties reporting any votes, as Westmoreland's not reporting. But Conor Lamb's up by approximately 8.2% right now.
About 7,400 votes.
Now go back to 2012, where the last time a Democrat actually ran against a Republican in this county. And Tim Murphy won 64% to 36%. So he won by a 28-point margin.
28, yep.
And
he won by over close to 100,000 votes. Yeah, it was 216,000 to 122,000.
So he won by 28%. Now Lamb is up by 8%. So that just shows how much of a swing to the left we've seen.
Let me ask you this: Do you think this is a Trump factor? Do you think people are starting to are voting for Lamb because of their dislike for Trump? Is that what you think's happening?
I think that's playing a major role. I think this is a protest vote. I think people who are pissed off at Trump are saying, hey, I'm not going to take this anymore. I'm going to actually vote. And there's a lot of people that I've heard that have reached out to me over the last couple of days, and they said that they're voting for the first time.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of the same. What I found is a lot of high school kids and like freshmen and sophomores in college are actually getting out to vote because they see what's happening in the country. These people never voted before, and all they remember from an intellectual standpoint, as far as what they could understand, is President Obama. And Trump is the polar opposite of Obama, and it's like these people are like, okay, maybe Obama wasn't so bad. maybe Trump is really bad. So we need to actually do something about this. And in order to do something, you can vote, and you can vote in House members that are going to stand up against President Trump. And I think that's what we're seeing here.
Yeah. So let's just take a look at some of the townships and cities in this district who are swinging one way or another heavily. There's one city, Findlay in Washington County, and Rick Saccone has 74.8% of the vote there.
But you look at the number of votes. There's only 181 votes to 58.
So this is a small city. But then you go over to Allegheny County, and these are very populated areas, very populated and very small land masses.
Yeah.
But these are heavily leaning towards Lamb. For instance, Lebanon Ward, 74%
in favor of
Lamb. So if that keeps up in Allegheny County, I think that's going to obviously help Lamb. But once again, we don't have any results from Westmoreland County. I'm not sure if their polls closed later.
Maybe Russia hacked them and they lost.
Who knows? Results. Maybe that's what happened. but I thought we'd start seeing some results from Westmoreland, but I'm guessing that's going to probably happen in the next 10 minutes or so.
I would imagine so. I'll take another comment from Susan H. on Twitter. She says, the fact that Washington County is going 50-50 over to blue is significant in PA. It shows that a heavily red county is going blue. 33% counted. That could be important. And that's an excellent point. Some of these super red counties are going blue and only 33% of the votes are in. That means that's looking very favorable.
Well, like she said, it's 50-50, so it's not going in one direction or another. But this was a county that's supposed to be going red. But with only 33% of the vote, and that means it's going to probably stay. Usually the numbers are going to stay the same, so it's probably going to remain 50-50 in that county. When you have a large percentage reporting like 33%, then you can kind of extrapolate it to all the votes.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if it was 5%, then I wouldn't say you could do that. But right now, it looks like Washington County is going to be pretty close. Saccone's up by only about 1% of the votes there. And thanks Suzanne, because we're not familiar with this area.
Yeah, we're actually from New Jersey, but we've been living in Florida for the last 12, 13 years.
Yeah, I mean I've read up on these counties, but stuff like that's important. So if any of you have information and insight like that, let us know so we can pass it on.
Yeah, feel free. You tweet at us with hashtag Krassenstein Live, and we'll be glad to cover your comments. That's what we're here to do tonight.
Yeah, so right now we are at 58% of the precincts reporting. 342 out of 593 precincts. 114,000 votes are in, and Conor Lamb still leads by 5.2%.
And the New York Times still predicts him to be the winner. They say 53% chance.
Yeah, but I mean, that's too close. Don't get ahead of yourself. It could definitely go the other way.
Yeah, I mean, 10 minutes ago they were predicting that Rick Saccone would win, and it was like 58% in his favor. So, this is just a number that's going to constantly change. And as the night goes on, or as the hour goes on, this number is going to become more accurate.
It's very important to note that there is a very large amount of votes that need to be reported in Westmoreland County compared to the other counties. Allegheny County, which is highly Democrat, still does have a large amount of votes, but Westmoreland County has nearly twice as many votes to be counted as Allegheny still does. And then you have Washington and Greene County, which are kind of going toss-up anyway, so those don't even count. Well, I mean, Greene's slightly more towards.
Right now, according to the New York Times and their statistical analysis, they're saying that it could go 10 points in favor of Saccone or 10 points in favor of Lamb. So right now, nobody really knows. It really depends a lot on Westmoreland County, and once we start seeing those votes come in, I think we can get a better idea. I've been saying all night.
Yeah, and I'm guessing we'll get those start getting those within the next 10 or 15 minutes. I know I said that about 10 or 15 minutes ago, but I think those should start trickling in soon. I'm not sure what the holdup is. I don't know if they had a 30 minutes extra to vote. Or
I don't believe they did, but I guess that's possible. I haven't heard anything along those lines though.
All right, so Lamb is now up by 5%. So he has a nice buffer But like we said, Allegheny has only, Westmoreland has only reported a small portion of the votes.
Very small portion. So any of you guys watching, feel free to tweet at us with the hashtag Krassenstein Live right over Brian's head here, and we'll take your comments and questions. We're not really watching the chat box, are you, Brad? You're not really watching the chat box too much.
No, it's hard to watch a chat box because it's going so fast. I am watching it, but it's too hard for me to concentrate and reply to everything that's going on over there. And it is slightly delayed, so you type something, I don't see it for about 5 or 10 seconds. So sorry about that. We're not ignoring you guys, but it's just too much. It's not like our ordinary sessions where we might have.
So if you aren't aware, we normally do these shows during the day, during the week. We basically just talk about the latest Trump news. So this nighttime one's a little abnormal for us, and that's why my hair is a little messed up
and the lighting's a little bit bad.
Yeah, so excuse that. My eyes might be a little red. Had a long day.
All right, so let's give an update here. We haven't really, not too many more votes came in since our last update. Lamb's still up by 5%. 58% of precincts are reporting. It's just a wait and see right now. Do you have any more questions or
no more questions on Twitter yet? But you know, I think a lot of people have gotten into politics because of President Trump. Would you agree with me there?
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see a lot more people voting all throughout the country in the midterm elections, which are coming up in November. This is just like a preview. This is a special election, and you know, there's going to be 435 of these happening in November. All the House seats are going to be up for
and the political atmosphere is going to be different. Like we don't even know what's going to happen. Is Mueller going to be done his investigation? Is what else is going to happen? Is Trump going to fire anybody else?
I think Mueller's going to keep. I don't think he's going to release his referral for any criminal charges if he has any until after the new Congress takes their seats in 2019.
So
Brian kind of argues with me on that, but you know, I think he's going to wait for that.
Oh yeah, so I mean that just makes it so much more important.
Yeah, well, if you have a Democratic majority in the House, that means it only takes Democrats to vote to impeach. Whereas right now, it's going to take at least like 20 Republicans to vote in favor of impeachment, and that's not going to happen. No matter what, I mean, Mueller could hand down like evidence of like treason, and they're not. I don't think the Republican House right now.
You saw what happened in the House Intelligence Committee yesterday.
They shut it down.
So you can't trust them to actually do anything about what's happening, and that's sad. And that's why
I think that's why we're seeing so much support for these Democratic candidates like Conor Lamb. Not to take anything away from Lamb because he's a great candidate.
Yeah. All right. So let's give a quick update here. There's now 3% more precincts are reporting. There's 61% of precincts are reporting. I think somebody mentioned the 75% mark. I think once we have 75% of precincts reporting, if it's a good spread where Westmoreland is also reporting a decent amount, I think we're going to be able to get a good idea, especially if one of the candidates is up by at least 3 or 4%.
Well, in Westmoreland County right now, it's basically Saccone's leading by 17,825 votes to Lamb's 13,900 votes, and I think that's surprising.
Well, and actually 53% of the precincts are reporting. This graph on the New York Times isn't showing the colors, so it kind of threw us off a bit.
Well, what percentage-wise can you figure out what that is?
Percentage-wise,
for how much? What percent of the vote Saccone?
54% about.
So he had
55%.
So it's really close in Westmoreland County, which is a heavily red district. That's like really close. So I think that looks very positive for Conor Lamb.
Yeah, and there's this chart on the New York Times website. Go there if you can. It's just New York Times. Search it in Google. New York Times election results, and it shows every city and township what way it's gone since 2016, and every single one of them, it appears, every single one of these dozens or even hundreds of cities and towns,
the shift in the margin
have shifted
has gone
to the left.
So it means more people that they're all going more Democrat than they have historically. So I mean, we kind of figured that was going to happen. I mean, because Lamb, like up until yesterday, it looked like it's going to be a close race. So I think we're going to see it's going to be
well,
close.
and Lamb has pulled ahead even more. He's up 6% now. It was 5% before.
And
so,
some of the Westmoreland County votes are coming in, so it's looking better. And the New York Times gives Lamb what percent now?
The New York Times is saying he has a 54% chance of winning. Something to point out is Allegheny County, which is always leaning Democrat. They have now reported 80% of the precincts. So that's a lot of the Democratic votes are already coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to keep that in mind. I mean, I'm not saying that Lamb's going to lose, but keep that in mind. Keep that in the back of your head. Don't get too excited yet. Westmoreland County is highly Republican, and they're 53% reporting. Now you have Washington County, which is even, so that doesn't even matter. They're 33%.
Yeah, like Suzanne H, I think it was. I'm sorry if I don't remember your name correctly. She said it was 50-50, and it is. I'm going to take a few more questions and comments on Twitter. Let's see here. Petrol, I don't even know what this name is. It's a bunch of weird letters. PECHILVR says, praying the district goes blue to set tone for November because the district fell in gerrymandering remapping, so this seat will be up again in November. And that's a good point. Pennsylvania had a huge gerrymandering issue where the Democrats basically took the Republicans to court over the districts. And the Supreme Court actually ruled in favor of Democrats, saying that no, these districts have to be redone, rewritten, and gerrymandering can't be done in these districts because it's favoring the Republicans. And now, currently, the Republicans are trying to fight that and say that they don't think the new maps are fair to them. But I don't think that. I think the Supreme Court's going to side with the Democrats again on this.
I want to do a little bit of math here while Eddie's talking. I actually did this during the Doug Jones election and kind of predicted what.
Yeah, Brian predicted the Doug Jones thing about 10 minutes before CNN or New York Times actually.
So basically, what I do is I look at the counties, the precincts reporting. So if there's 80% reporting, then that's another 20% of those are going to be votes coming in. So, and I just extrapolate what has already come in, and you can get a pretty good idea of what's going to happen. So I'm going to do that.
Right, you do that. And I'm going to take some more questions and comments on Twitter. We have a lot of them coming in right now. Remember, Krassenstein Live's the hashtag if you want to tweet anything to us. All right, so Demon Force says, do Americans understand the serious damage Donald Trump is doing to their standing on a world stage? And, I think we're seeing it here tonight. I don't think Americans are stupid. I think Americans understand that President Trump is embarrassing us, at least to a small degree. If you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, you're probably saying he's an epic embarrassment, the most embarrassing thing that could ever happen to this country. So I think that's why people are focusing so much on the PA18 special election, because it kind of shows a little bit of where the country's going and what the country's feeling about our current president. We saw this with the Doug Jones, Roy Moore Senate election in Alabama, where there's so much focus on it, and Roy Moore should have blown Doug Jones out, but Doug Jones actually won the election. And I think that's why we're seeing another close one here in Pennsylvania. People actually care about this country, and people are not stupid. They can see what's happening to the country, and I think this is a big Trump factor that we're seeing, where Democrats are starting to gain traction. GED at HTFC says, what percentage loss would be good for the Democrats? Brian was saying earlier 3%. I think that a 3% margin, if Lamb came within the 3% margin, Republicans should be worried about November. I think that it's not going to be good for Democrats, but it's going to show that November is going to be tough for Republicans. So I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to extrapolate some of these numbers here, and in my opinion, Conor Lamb's going to win here. I think he's going to win by approximately somewhere around 4,000 votes. That's just my guess right now. I'm going to say that he's going to win by 4,000 votes. All right.
Which is going to end up, it's probably going to end up being about a 2%, 3% margin. If my numbers are correct. And take it with a grain of salt. That's what I have to say.
All right, I'll take a few more questions. Jest says, do you guys know if this election is entirely voting machines or if they're using paper backups as well? They're not. There's not paper backups for every voting machine in this election. Some of the districts, some of the counties might have paper backups, but I know pretty certainly that there's not paper backups for all of these voting machines.
And the thing is, Democrats put forth a bill that they want to provide $300 million to the states for 2018 elections so that they can back everything up on paper, and the Republicans refused. Now, why would you do that?
Yeah, it's like, Russia's trying to meddle in our elections. Russia's trying to hack the voting machines. There's evidence of that. So why not secure our elections? And why aren't the Republicans in favor of this? The argument can be made that they know that Russia, if they help in the election, is probably going to help them.
Yeah.
And that's an argument that I'm sure the GOP argument is more along the lines of, okay, we don't want the federal government interfering. But the federal government doesn't have to interfere with the elections if the states all agree to just secure the elections with backup paper ballots. It's not that hard to do. It gives you hard evidence to support the election results. And I don't see how anyone can argue that there's anything wrong with that. And it bothers me that anyone would say that we don't need a backup system in order to ensure that we're not getting hacked, to ensure that the votes aren't being cheated in one way or another. Trump came out and remember during the 2016 election saying, "Oh, they might be rigged. The election might be rigged." Well, if we have paper backups, you can tell if it's rigged. So everybody should be in support of paper ballots.
Yeah, all right, let's give an update here. There's been a significant rise in votes received. There's 71% now reporting. We're getting very close to that 75% mark that I said that we'll have a better idea. And something to note is Conor Lamb is up 51.5% to 47.9%. So he's up about 3.6% right now. Something else to note, which is very significant, is that 77% of Westmoreland County is now reporting, and
it's really pretty close.
And Saccone has about 6,800 more votes.
Well, it's 27,995 votes for Saccone and 21,195 votes for Lamb.
Now,
so I mean, it's not super close, but for that county, that's really close.
The other two counties are incredibly close, and they're pretty much done reporting. Well, Greene County is done reporting, and that was slightly towards Saccone. Washington County is pretty much tied, and they're only 33% in. So, if we can extrapolate what has come in Allegheny County and Westmoreland County, which is 83% in Allegheny and 77% in Westmoreland, to 100%, Lamb's going to win this.
It appears that way.
If the same ratio of votes comes in that we've already received in each of these counties, Lamb's going to win this. Now,
Washington County is interesting.
Now, Washington
33%.
Washington County is interesting. Right now, it's tied at about 6,000 votes each at 33%.
And you might recall that I believe it was Susan H. on Twitter actually told us she lives in Washington County, and she knows that it's a heavily Republican county. So perhaps this 33% is not an accurate depiction of what's going to happen, and that if that's the case, then you can say that Saccone has a shot. But usually, when there's 33% of the vote in it depicts basically, you can extrapolate the results, and it represents.
Well, something you know in Washington County is there's 33% of the vote, and there's been 12,000 votes. So that means there's 24,000 more votes coming in. Now, that 24,000 is a lot. Lamb's up by 5.
By 5,000.
So Washington County could be the one that's going to determine this. It doesn't look. It looks like Westmoreland County is going to go Saccone, but not as much Saccone as Allegheny's going Lamb.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to know this. I think we're going to know the outcome of this within the next 15 minutes or so. I think we're going to be able to say who we think's going to win.
I'm hoping so, unless it tightens up. What is New York Times is
their predictions are not showing right now. I guess things are getting a little too complicated for them. Let's see. Susan H. writes again. She says, "This is the blue wave in PA. Everything is shifting blue now since We are all seeing red with Trump. The buffoonery is almost over, people. And I think she's onto something. She's actually the one who pointed out about Washington County. And if Washington County can stay 50-50 like it is right now, Lamb's going to win this.
Yeah, no, I agree. Just give me a second here. Go ahead.
We have a few more comments I'll cover. Pyramids aren't power plants. That's their username on Twitter. Says, do you think it's statistically possible for Democrats to take enough seats this fall to amend the Constitution? I'm not sure what you mean by amend the Constitution. Like what? I don't know what you want to amend about it. I'm not for amending the Constitution right now. I think Democrats can take enough seats in order to have a majority. I think that's going to happen if things keep up at this pace. I think Democrats are going to have a majority. You know, as far as amending the Constitution, I don't know what you're referring to. Maybe you're referring to gun regulations. I'm not sure, but I don't think anybody's going to be looking to amend the Constitution. Shanice Goodwin says, "Why should we trust that the PA election hasn't been interfered with?" We have to trust our elections. You know, we can't say for 100% that they haven't been interfered with, but we should trust the people in Pennsylvania to report anything suspicious. If you don't think something's going on right, there's numbers you can call to report suspicious votes.
There's too many people that have that are honest people in all these precincts that if something did go wrong, it's going to be reported. We have social media now. There's not going to be a huge conspiracy, right? There's always going to be honest people who are going to report.
Well, and we really need paper ballots. It goes back up to that. Why not back up all the votes with paper ballots? There's no reason not to. The only reason not to is if you are afraid that it's going to hurt your chances in an election. And I mean, that's the most stupid reason anybody could come up with, because we need fair elections. So right now we are still at 72%. By the way, I just saw a comment here. Ed never replies to any comments on Twitter, except when he was trying to promote your PAC scam. And we're not running a PAC. We're not running a super PAC. We were just trying to gauge if anybody was interested in a PAC that could have taken these positions. We're not going to be heading any super PAC or anything. We don't have the time for that. And do you know how many comments we get on Twitter every day? Like literally, there's probably like 4,000 comments to both of us on Twitter. I try to read as many as I can, but no, I'm not going to respond.
The best way to get through to us is direct message us. If I don't follow you, you can still direct message me.
We both actually opened up both our Twitter accounts, so anybody can direct message us. So if you want to tell me something, you want to tell me how stupid I am, if you want to tell me how ignorant I am, if you want to tell me that you want to tell me I have a receding hairline, you can do that. You can tell me whatever you want. I don't care. Just tell me what you want, and I guarantee you I'll read it, but I don't guarantee you I'll respond to it.
All right, so let's give it a little bit of an update here. The votes have kind of slowed up in coming in, but right now there's 72% of the precincts are reporting 147,865 votes. Lamb is up by 3.6%, 51.5 to 47.9%. And it's getting incredibly tight here. Like I said, though, if you extrapolate what has come in right now and say that this is what's going to happen throughout the rest of the night, Lamb's going to win. But once again, Washington County is going to be interesting because there's only 33% reported.
We have a lot of comments coming in on Twitter. I'm going to read over a few of them. Is that okay, Brian?
Yeah.
Rebecca Boycott NRA says, "Guys, I stepped away for a minute and now the New York Times estimate has disappeared and instead it says reliable precinct data is not currently available. Our forecast is not trustworthy right now." What's up with that? I don't know why the New York Times did that. Perhaps they're having a hard time getting some of the data in.
It's interesting that they're not showing on the graph anything in Westmoreland County, but they're actually providing the numbers. So I'm thinking that...
what else is interesting, Washington County hasn't changed, and they're only at 33% in right now.
Yeah, but something I think that the reason this is happening is because their formula factors in Westmoreland County, and their data is not showing Westmoreland County. Only the numbers.
Well, that's actually the New York Times did report that they're having issues with their Westmoreland County data,
and that was, I believe, that was affecting their predictions. I believe that data is being fed into the prediction algorithm.
Yeah, it's all a system. It's all a computer program. So the data from all the data that they gather from these from the precincts reporting actually is fed into a computer program, and it spits out these percentages. So I think that's what the reason is there. Michael Kramer says, a big thank you from Germany for your excellent reporting at this important right now. And we like doing this. We have nothing else to do right now. Our kids are asleep. So this is fun.
Okay, so we got an update here. Washington County is now reporting 75% of the precincts. And it's incredibly close. Saccone's up by 2,000 votes there.
It's 16,500 to 14,800.
Yeah, so he's up by 1,700 votes or so. That went slightly more towards Saccone, but not significantly. And Lamb is up by 2.6% now. So the gap is falling. So this is getting quite a bit
getting
closer.
really close, but a lot of I'd say a good amount of the Republican votes are in. We still have Westmoreland County. There's still 33% there.
Wait, we just got another update. 88% in Westmoreland County.
Oh, wow, this is close.
Lamb is only up by 1.4% right now.
This is going to come down to the wire. It really is.
You gotta figure Allegheny and Westmoreland. Allegheny has reported 91%, Westmoreland 88%, but Allegheny is almost twice as large. Well, not twice, about 60% larger. So you're going to have more votes towards Lamb there, but you have Washington County that has 25% to report. So that's going to give Saccone about another 500 votes. So you got 500 votes yet to come, a 500 vote margin yet to come for Saccone in Washington County. Now you've got probably about a 1,200 vote margin for Lamb and Allegheny. So that's a 700 margin.
Westmoreland.
Westmoreland, you've got about a 1,000. So right now,
it's like tied right now. It looks like it's going to be within probably a couple thousand.
We've got 1,500 vote margin for Lamb, but we're going to subtract. It looks like Lamb's. If this continues the way we've seen, and the same ratio of votes continue, Lamb's gonna win by hundreds of votes.
Right now,
way too close to call.
Right now, Lamb has 91,800 and. Can you go back to that?
Sorry.
Lamb has 91,687 votes, and Saccone has 89,194 votes. So we're talking 1,500 votes right now.
Well, let's see how many votes are yet to come in. We've got 30,000, 25% of 30,000,
I'll take questions. You do that, and I'll take some questions on Twitter. Jess says, how close does the count have to be for a runoff or a recount to be called? Do you know that, Brian?
I think it's a half a percentage.
I think
half a point. I think it is
half a point. So we might actually see this tonight. Well, it's going to be very close to that, I think. Manish Shrimp says CNN says 78% in, and it's 51% Lamb versus 48.4% Saccone.
Well, CNN's a little bit behind.
The New York Times is typically ahead of CNN by a small margin. So CNN says, New York Times says 87% in.
I'm predicting that there's still 23,000 votes out there. 23,500 votes are yet to come in. Now, it's slightly favoring the Republicans. It's slightly
because is it favoring them enough to make up the 1,500 votes that Conor
it's incredibly close. Conor Lamb's up by 1,500 votes approximately. It's favoring the Republicans by close to 1,500 votes.
So we're going to come down to the wire here. It's going to come down to the final tabulation, I think. I'll take another.
We expected this to tighten up like this. I didn't expect it to get this tight because
I didn't either. Another comment here from Mark N. Jackson. He says, there cannot be a blue wave unless Democrats put forward great candidates like Conor Lamb, and that's a really good point. I think what happens in some of these super red districts is that Democrats don't even try. Like a lot of Democrats don't even think they have a chance of people who could be really good candidates.
Well, sometimes nobody even runs.
There's times when Democrats don't even run. I don't think we're going to see that in this in this upcoming election. I think there's going to be Democrats running regardless. But we don't know if the Democrats who would actually be a really solid candidate are going to come forward to run. Because being in a red county, you might just think people don't want to lose.
Yeah, somebody just pointed out that there's 3,500 absentee ballots that are about to be counted. If that's true, that's going to be interesting right there.
Absentees typically go in favor of Republicans.
Yeah,
so that could be
3,500 is a decent chunk. This is going to definitely be within 1 or 2 points at most.
Yeah. Mantis Shrimp on Twitter says the hope is killing me. Yep, it's killing all of us. But we're going to know within the next, I'd say, 15, 20 minutes maybe. I think we'll have a really solid idea who wins this.
So somebody said it doesn't matter if Lamb wins for this race to be close when Trump won by 20 points. It's a great sign. And that's absolutely right. Like, I don't want to be one of those sore losers that say, oh, yeah, we won even though we didn't. But if the fact that this is turning 20 points approximately towards Democrats is a big warning towards the GOP.
Yeah, I mean, Trump won this district by 20 points. 20, that's huge. And the last House election, Tim Murphy won by, what was it, like 30 points or something, you said?
28%.
28 points. So, this is huge that Conor Lamb is actually making this close. And maybe he doesn't win tonight. Maybe he doesn't.
He's been up the entire night, so let's just hope he doesn't ever dip below Saccone.
Yeah.
Because that's going to really get kind of scary.
What do you think about the Libertarian vote? There's 1,129 Libertarian votes. Do you think they take more votes from Republicans or Democrats typically?
I think it could go either way, but I think more towards Republican.
So, I mean, that could actually play a factor if Saccone loses. The Libertarian vote could have taken votes from him.
Yeah, it's right now. We think we just got it. We just got a small update here. Conor Lamb actually pulled ahead slightly. He's up 50.5% to 48.9%. There's 88% reporting. Now, these votes came from Allegheny County, so that was to be expected.
Yeah, so Allegheny County is 93% in. Westmoreland County is 88% in. Washington County is 75% in, and Greene County is 100% in. Now, Allegheny at 93% in, they're majority Democrat. But Westmoreland County and Washington County, they're 88 and 75% in, and they're majority Republican. But you got to keep in mind that Allegheny County has a much larger population, so it's going to be really close. I think this is going to come down to the final 5%. And the absentee ballots are going to play a role, I think, here.
I'm expecting Conor Lamb to win by 500 votes or so. That's based on extrapolation.
What was your initial?
I said 3%.
3%. I don't think that's going to happen.
Definitely not. He's gonna. The math I'm doing right now in my head, Conor Lamb's going to win by hundreds of votes. I'm thinking about 500 votes if this trend continues.
Well, I guess we're going to see within how long do you think it's going to be until we see all the votes?
And I want to make sure to say this is so close that I could definitely be wrong here.
Well, how long until you think we're going to see all the votes come in? You think it's?
I don't know about all of them, but I think
enough to actually say with certain.
I think the next 20 minutes. I think the next 20 minutes we should probably have a better idea. But if it's this close, it might go till who knows tomorrow morning.
All right, I'll take a few more Twitter comments. Rebecca says, "What a nail biter! Have you heard anything about voter turnout in PA18? Is it higher than usual?" And Brian actually said he heard from some people that it's super, super high, right?
Well, I heard that Democrats are very excited, and Democrats seem to be excited about while Republicans are not so much.
Well, let's take a look. Right now, we have approximately 190,000 votes in. 193,000.
And we got
in the last
91% of the precincts reporting.
So
Conor Lamb's up by 1% right now.
Okay, so 193,000 votes. So we have another 10%. So basically 210,000 votes when it all is said and done. In the previous elections, how many votes did we have?
It's been more. So that's surprising.
Actually, the turnout is actually lower than the previous year,
lower,
which is surprising. But way less Republican votes, like 100,000 less Republican votes.
So typically during a non-presidential year, Democrats don't turn out, but maybe Republicans didn't turn out because they hate the president.
Yeah, it's like I think there's a lot of Republicans out there who support President Trump just because he's a Republican, or at least he claims he's a Republican.
Wow, we got a big update here.
Whoa.
Conor Lamb is up by 0.4%, but there's some good news in that Westmoreland County is now reporting 97%.
And Washington County is 90%, whereas Allegheny County is still 93%.
I'm gonna say Conor Lamb's gonna win. I cannot see Conor Lamb not winning this based on what the numbers I'm seeing.
Well, so there's 88,000 votes, and there's another 7% in Allegheny. So what's that? That's like 5,000 votes there still to come in, and it's heavily favoring Conor Lamb. So it's going to be close.
Conor Lamb's up by 700 votes right now, but like Ed just said, the votes still to come in on a ratio basis are favoring Conor Lamb slightly.
So right now Conor Lamb has exactly 101,907 votes, whereas Rick Saccone has 100,979 votes. 979 votes. And the numbers just updated again. And Conor Lamb's up by 0.4%. He's up by approximately 920 votes.
Yeah. Crazy. It's so tight, but I'm calling Conor Lamb's gonna win. I'm calling it. I'm gonna type it on Twitter right now. All right, so I'm gonna say I say that Conor Lamb won. I don't see him losing this. I don't see him. The numbers that we have right now, I can't see. He's up by 1,000 votes right now. Washington County still has 10% of the votes to report.
Well, I think Washington County is going to be big because that's kind of been fluctuating a little bit.
You've got it. Washington County is favoring Saccone by 2,500 votes with 10% to report. So that's 250 votes in favor of Saccone. Lamb's up by 1,000. And then Allegheny, Conor Lamb won this.
Lamb won. I'm pretty confident that Lamb won.
This is such a big night for Democrats. And it's such a close race here, but Conor Lamb won. I'm calling it. Are you calling it?
I'd say Conor Lamb won. Yeah, we can't say with 100% certainty, but I'd say 99.9% sure. We're both confident that Conor Lamb won this election based on the numbers that are in.
We'll watch the last 5% come in over the next probably 20 minutes or so, but I cannot see, mathematically, I cannot see how Conor Lamb could lose this one.
So, congratulations, Conor Lamb. Are we ready to say congratulations, Conor Lamb? We'll be the first to congratulate you. I think this is huge for the Democrats, and it shows that there's a blue wave coming.
Yeah,
it shows that Conor Lamb is set an example here, and I think that's a good example for other Democrats who follow, especially in red districts. Moderate Democrats actually have a solid chance, and it's going to be interesting to see what President Trump says tomorrow, if he says anything.
Yeah, and something that I want to stress here is that why I'm so confident that Lamb won is if you look at Washington County, a lot of the cities and townships that have yet to report their numbers are surrounded by blue cities and towns. A lot of them are. So I think that even in Washington County, I think we might see it shift slightly more to towards Lamb. Of course, it's never over till it's over, like somebody said. But mathematically, I think the margin of any margin of error in my math is the Lamb's lead is too large right now, and by large I mean just over 900 votes, but. That's too large for Saccone to overcome with what's left.
Something weird would have to happen and we had to admit that we did see some weird stuff happen with the 2016 presidential election. So something super weird would have to happen where the law of averages doesn't work out for Conor Lamb not to win this election. Right now, the law of averages says that Conor Lamb is the next congressman for the 18th district of Pennsylvania. Yeah, and I'd like to congratulate him. You did an awesome job, and it's going to be so interesting to see how President Trump reacts tomorrow. Does he tweet? Does he tweet about this?
He might just not say a thing.
I think that,
or maybe he'll just blame it on Saccone as a bad candidate. Behind the scenes, 4 sources said that Trump has said Saccone is a bad candidate. So I'm guessing that's
I'm sure that probably played some role, but I don't think you can blame it on Saccone being a bad candidate as much as Conor Lamb was a tremendous candidate. I think he represented the people of Pennsylvania very well. I think Republicans saw that he cared about them. I think Republicans saw that he was one of them, and I think that's why he had such a good shot this year. He made up 20 points, over 20 points.
Yeah.
Trump won this district by 20 points in the 2016 election, and Democrat Conor Lamb comes out of nowhere. Basically, he came out of nowhere to just steal the seat. But I don't even want to say steal the seat because I think it's Democrats who came out in full force. They're tired of President Trump. They're tired of his bullying. They're tired of his ways of running the country, where he's kind of just bullying people. And
I want to just point something out. And somebody said, "Do you need to address the absentee votes?" And I'm not sure what's up with that. That could throw our prediction off if the absentee votes have not been counted. But I still think the margin. He's up by 1,100 votes right now. And I think the margin is still in favor of him.
I mean, that's what it looks like. Absentees, they do traditionally go Republican, but
not significantly.
Not significantly, and there's only 3,500 absentee votes. I don't think it's going to be enough to. It won't be enough to let Saccone just overcome this, 1.6% margin right now.
Well, you've got Greene County has totally reported 100%. You have Allegheny and Westmoreland at 96% and 97% respectively, but Allegheny has 60% more voters. So that's going to cancel out Westmoreland, plus give Conor Lamb a few extra votes. And then there's Washington, which is going to give Saccone approximately 250 votes.
It's close in Washington, so it's not. Yeah, it's only going to give him 250 votes. So right now, to me, it's blatantly obvious that Conor Lamb won this just based on the statistics of this.
Yeah, if you're a statistician, you'd say based on the numbers we have, Conor Lamb.
I mean, the margin of error, it's not great enough to allow Saccone to overcome the.
And like we said, we don't know how the absentee votes are being tallied. We don't know if those results came in yet.
Yeah, I'm not really sure if the absentees have been counted or when they're actually going to be counted. I think it's sometime soon if they haven't been. So, congratulations to Conor Lamb.
Somebody said, I'm holding you guys accountable if Conor doesn't win. Like we said, mathematically, as long as the absentee ballots don't play a major factor, Conor Lamb has won this.
Yeah, it looks obvious from a statistical standpoint. On Twitter, there's some more comments coming in with hashtag Krassenstein Live. Manish Shrimp says, "Dudes, I'm predicting that the absentee votes will throw your prediction off." I don't think it will.
It's 3,500 absentee ballots, and the way this is that represents 1.5% of the vote, so it shouldn't throw it off too much. Even if it was slightly favoring Saccone or even moderately favoring Saccone, that's 3,500 ballots. It would have to be quite significantly towards Saccone for it to throw us off. Lamb's up by 1,100 votes, and judging from what I see here, the non-absentee ballots, he should probably keep that lead of 1,100 votes.
It's interesting. The New York Times, they basically threw out their prediction. Algorithm. It hasn't been working.
I think these stats from Westmoreland County threw them off.
So that's interesting. That's a little disappointing that people couldn't follow the New York Times predictions. But hopefully.
Yeah, somebody said MSNBC has 95% in, 50% Lamb, 49% Saccone, and that's exactly what.
The New York Times is 95% in, 50%, 49.4%, and they have Conor Lamb with 102,839 votes, and Rick Saccone with 101,707.
Yeah, so he's up by what 1,128 votes or so. And like I said, the non-absentee ballots, they're going to pretty much keep Conor Lamb's lead at 1,100 or so. So there's 3,500 absentee ballots. So for him to lose 1,100, it would have to be a 60-70% Rick Saccone absentee.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a good amount of Democrats who also vote with absentee ballots in this district. I think typically older people vote absentees, but you also have people who work long jobs who are voting absentee. So
somebody just asked, so it hasn't been called yet. Let me say, it's like we called it. I'm willing to.
We're not official by any means. We're not working.
I'm just going by the math behind it all. And somebody brought up the absentee ballots, but that the margin is too large, and it's not large at all, but too large for 3,500 ballots to make a difference.
The election's not technically called until one of the candidates basically says, "Okay, I lost, and you win. You won."
Yeah,
that's not going to happen.
We got another
later this evening.
We've got another 1% reporting. Conor Lamb picked up a few votes here. He's up by 1,238 now.
What are we looking at as far? It's still 90% Washington.
Allegheny reported 1% more. So he gained 100 from that. I'm pretty certain that Conor Lamb won this.
Let's see. We have a few more comments on Twitter using the hashtag Krassenstein Live. Petrol VR says the absentee ballots aren't all accounted for. They said midnight. So midnight absentees come in.
Unless the Russians hacked the absentees and gave them all to Saccone.
Unless Putin filled out a bunch of absentee ballots and mailed them in, I think Conor Lamb's going to win this. I don't foresee the absentees making up enough ground for Saccone to make up enough ground.
Yeah, and like we said before, the non-absentee ballots still to be counted. It's such a small margin, but if you extrapolate what has already come in over that small margin, Lamb should probably keep his margin of 1,200 votes right now. So there's no way that 3,500 absentee ballots are going to tilt it 1,200 towards Saccone.
And I mean, it's so close. It's almost 50-50, and absentees typically they follow pretty close. So I mean, 3,500. So it would basically need to be like a 70%. 75% in favor of Saccone.
It would have to be 2,300 to 1,200, and so
it's like 75%. Saccone's not going to get 75% of the absentee votes after the election just went almost 50-50, or 51% in favor of Conor Lamb as far as the regular votes go. So Conor Lamb won this.
Somebody said don't count the Russians out yet.
Yeah, well, I'm not counting the Russians out. Like I said, Vladimir Putin might have mailed in like 5,000 mail-in ballots or something at the last minute.
He's joking.
Yeah, I'm just joking about it. I'm not being serious.
The next thing you'll read is some article by InfoWars saying that we said that Putin is voting in America.
Well, let's hope that's not the case.
All right, so let's see. No more updates yet. We have what is it? 25 precincts still to report. It's looking good for Lamb. I don't see how he's going to lose this.
Well, Crazy Mom on Twitter just said most absentee ballots are Republican. I don't know exactly what you're saying, but absentee ballots typically go Republican. But they're not going to go 75% in favor of Saccone. So I don't see Saccone winning this because I don't. Can you see 75% of absentee ballots voting for Saccone? No. So
I actually think that a lot of Democrats probably voted absentee this time because there were so many people excited about this election. I think a lot of people wanted to get their votes in absentee-wise.
Traditionally, people say it goes Republican. Older people typically vote Republican overall in favor of Republicans, and older people are usually the people who do vote via the absentee ballots. But at the same time, working class people vote absentee because they don't have time to get to the polls either before or after work, and also military personnel vote absentee. But I mean, Conor Lamb is a captain in the military. He's going to get a lot of military votes. Definitely, he's definitely going to get pretty close to 50% of the military
Probably
votes.
More than that.
I'm guessing more. So to say that Saccone has a chance by getting 75% of the absentee ballots to win this election is just ridiculous. I would be dumbfounded. I think I'm going crazy if that actually happens.
Somebody asked is what counties have yet to report, what precincts have yet to report, and most of the precincts are in Westmoreland County. I'm sorry, in Washington County. There are a few in Allegheny County and a few in Westmoreland, but the majority are in Washington, and Washington slightly went towards Saccone in the first 90%.
Yeah, so in the 90% of the votes that are in Washington County, 21,235 actually went to Saccone, and 18,649 went to Lamb. This is usually a county that is heavily Republican. So and that was very close. So that's a good sign. You know, a lot of Democrats came out, but I don't even think it's that a lot of Democrats came out. I think Conor Lamb got a lot of Republican votes. It's not. I don't even know it's so much that a ton of Democrats came out because the vote numbers were the number of people who came out to vote were actually less than previous year's elections in this district.
Yeah, which is surprising.
So my theory is that a lot of Republicans
were just fed up.
We're fed up with Trump and with the House with the U.S. Congress actually basically protecting President Trump. They said, okay, we get Democrats in, at least Trump can be held accountable. Okay, maybe we still support Trump, but we want him to be held accountable. We want those checks and balances in order. So in order to do that, we vote Democrat. And Trump is still the president. He's a Republican president. So the Republicans are like, okay, we still have our president, but let's keep him in check. Let's not let him just turn this into a dictatorship. Let's actually control him. Like the Constitution puts out, there's a separation of powers. There's the judicial, the legislative, and the executive branches. So let's put some Democrats in the legislative branch so that the House can't just act as a protection for Trump like it has been. And that they just closed down the Trump-Russia investigation for no reason.
Yeah, the Republicans are fed up and the Democrats are fed up. And they're both fed up at the same thing. And that's the way Republicans are headed and the way Trump's headed.
And Saccone was pretty far to the right, and Conor Lamb is pretty moderate. He's not. I'm not going to say he's in the middle, but he's very close to being right in the middle. And I think that's what this country needs. We need more moderates, but either Republican or Democrat. We need moderates who are willing to work for both sides a little bit and who are willing to work together.
And I think one of the things that helped Lamb here is his views towards abortion. He said he personally was against abortion, but he absolutely appreciated the right for a woman to choose. So that kind of helped him with Republicans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it absolutely helped him with Republicans who otherwise wouldn't have voted for him.
Take a few more comments here on Twitter. GED at HTFC says the Russian vote is not due for another 2 hours, guys. Calm down. I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, I hope we don't go to bed here in half an hour and wake up and see, oh God, Conor Lamb lost.
Well, the Russian vote, hopefully there's no Russian vote here. I'm saying that from the bottom of my heart. I'm pretty sure that the states are taking care of this. We don't want the elections not to be trusted. So it's important. I mean, That's one of the reasons why Obama didn't go after Trump during the elections, because he wanted them to be fair elections.
Yeah, we got an update here. Lamb is only up by about 900 votes right now, but important to note, Westmoreland County, which is the heavily Republican county, is now 99% reporting. Allegheny still has 3%. Allegheny's going to probably give Lamb about 500 extra votes. So that's going to pad Lamb there. Washington's going to give Saccone another 250. So Lamb should get another 250 over Saccone as these final numbers come in. And then there's absentee.
So we're looking at...
But you have to understand, I don't know if these absentee numbers are actually figured in to these numbers that the New York Times are reporting. Like, as they are coming in, are they coming in on here? I'm guessing they are, right?
I'm not sure.
So, for instance, we have 97% reporting in Allegheny, or there's 3% absentees.
I would imagine so.
That Conor Lamb won if that's the case.
So we're looking at Lamb's probably going to get another 250 votes. So we're looking at, he has 104,697 currently. So 104,700 plus 250 would move him up to 104,950, and Saccone's going to. So I don't see any way Conor Lamb loses this. Conor Lamb is the winner.
Yeah, and somebody asked where we're getting our numbers and saying that MSNBC is not updating their numbers.
No, well, MSNBC is reporting 50-50 right now, and I don't know if they go to the...
Well, this is the thing. If you round up, it's 50-50.
Yeah, 49.9% to 49.5%. If you round both those numbers up, which you would round up, they're both 50%. So I think that's what MSNBC is doing. I don't believe that is MSNBC. I don't think MSNBC is saying 50.0.
The MSNBC is also reporting that there's 9,000 votes to be counted. So 9,000 votes left.
And that would include the absentees.
Yeah, so basically there's 9,000 votes left, and Lamb's up by approximately 900 votes. That means that Saccone would have to have a 60-40 margin in these 9,000 remaining votes, and I can't see that happening, especially given the fact that Allegheny County still has 3% to report.
Yeah, and Allegheny's hugely Democrat. So, is it possible that something's going to happen and Lamb would end up losing this? I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I'm not uncertain.
Yeah, I can't.
I'm not uncertain that Lamb is the winner.
Like we said 20 minutes ago, we called it for Lamb. And I don't.
There goes Brian bragging again about his statistical calculations in his brain. He thinks he's all smart.
I really have no idea what I'm talking about. Just saying it for the views.
Don't say that. People are
I'm just kidding.
So,
no, not 9,000. Somebody asked if there's 9,000 absentees, and no, there's 3,500 to 4,000 absentees.
Yeah, 9,000 is the total amount of uncounted votes right now.
Yeah, and there's somebody's reporting there's 6,000 in Washington and West, and
West is actually all calculated right now. All but 1% are in from West.
So there's what was it, 6,000 in Washington and West. So there's 3,000 left in Allegheny. So it's there's no way Saccone's going to catch up.
There's a few more comments on Twitter. I'll take these. Joey Lopez says, yes, we need more centrists who are able to bring civil discourse back to the halls of our sacred government establishment. What is the key component you look for in an altruistic, I'm sorry, my contacts are getting blurry, candidate you would endorse? Would you care to answer that?
What are the key characteristics?
I think just somebody who's willing to work with both sides. I lean slightly to the left, but I think moderate candidates are important, whether it's Republicans or Democrats.
Yeah, no, I agree with him. All right, so there still hasn't been much of an update here. Lamb is still up by about 900 votes. Something to keep in mind here, though,
recounts
is that
that's what Mark N. Jackson on Twitter just mentioned this.
He's Lamb's only up by 0.4%, and it doesn't look like it's going to stray much from there. So there's going to be a recount. I feel that I believe that it's 0.5% that triggers a recount, or it might be even under 1%. So there's probably going to be a recount. So he's not going to be named the winner probably for who knows how long it's going to take.
And now would be a great time to have paper ballot backup, so you can make sure that every vote is accurate. But Republicans have been against the idea of backing up the elections with paper ballots, which I see no reason to be against that at all. GED at HTFC on Twitter says, we have seen strange things happening in recent elections. Hold on. And yet, you're absolutely right. We have seen some strange things happening, but I don't think that's going to happen here. Again, I can't say with 100% certainty, but I can say I'm not uncertain.
Yeah, and somebody brought up, people were worried about the weather. There's a nor'easter hitting the East Coast today and tomorrow, and people were worried that was going to affect turnout, which would have helped Republicans, but luckily the snow held off for the most part.
But we did see a rather low turnout, right? Wouldn't you say so? The turnout was
Jake
not
Tapper, according to CNN, Jake Tapper said that there will not be a recount in Pennsylvania. I don't know how accurate that is.
Yeah, it's just as somebody making a comment. I guess it's possible Pennsylvania doesn't do recounts. That's an interesting fact I did not know if that's true. I could actually look that up right now.
No, nothing has changed. There's still 3% left in Allegheny County, which is a highly Democratic county. There's 1% in Westmoreland, which is highly Republican, and there's 10% remaining in Washington, which has gone towards Saccone, but not by a whole lot. But that county has me slightly nervous, but there's not enough there. There's not enough there to make up the difference in my mind.
I believe the recount's based more on electorals.
And somebody brought up the point we were talking about the turnout, but this was a special election.
That's true.
So this is the only thing on the ballot. That's a good point, and thank you, whoever said that. I don't see it right now, but that's a good point.
Yes. So during regular elections, you're voting on dozens of candidates for different positions. And for special elections, this is the only two people or the only election going on. Well, I don't even know what word I'm trying to look for. It's the only thing you're voting for is this House seat. Whereas in typical midterm elections or congressional elections, there's a whole list of candidates for different things, courts and everything that you're voting for. So people have more tendency to turn up because you're voting for many things. Whereas this, maybe you're not really interested in who your congressman is, so you don't show up. So I think that's a good point. That plays a role in the low turnout. Special elections typically don't have a very large turnout compared to midterms.
Yeah, somebody also pointed out that congressional district elections don't have recounts. Like I said before, I'm not sure how accurate these comments are, but that seems to make sense. So as we wait for the final 4% to come in, we actually just got a 1%. 1% of the vote just came in. This was 1% from Allegheny County, which is a more Democratic county, and it didn't really help Lamb too much, which is a little bit unnerving. Conor Lamb's up by about 800 votes.
There's 98% in Allegheny County, 99 in Westmoreland, and 90% in Washington, and then Greene County is 100% in. So we still have some votes to come in. It's still looking to favor Conor Lamb, though, and I still think.
Well, Washington County is the only county we got to worry about, and there's 90% in, and Saccone led that county by about 2,600 votes. So 10% of 2,600 of that continues would be 260 votes that he'll pick up. So
it won't be enough. It won't be enough to overcome Lamb.
Yeah, Lamb is up by 800.
Even without the 2% in Allegheny, that's going to go in favor of Lamb.
Well, and there's 1% in Westmoreland that will go in favor of Saccone. But I almost feel comfortable going to bed.
Yeah.
Pretty tired. I've been up since 5 a.m.
Let me just take there's 2 more comments on Twitter. I'll just go over those real fast. Kat says, no mandatory recount in this district. You have 5 days to submit a petition. And knowing Trump, he's probably going to encourage Saccone to submit a petition, but I guess we'll see. I don't want to say that. Yeah, I guess I just did say that. Susan H says, no auto recount in PA. Thanks, Susan. So there's no recounts unless a petition is filed.
Somebody said that there's 1,500 votes remaining in Washington County. So that means 100. Oh yeah, we just got an update here. Lamb is up by 540 votes, but Washington County has reported an additional 3%.
How did that affect it? Was that
the 3% raised it? What was it? Wait, we just got another update here. Allegheny reported Conor Lamb. It's getting close. Conor Lamb's up by, what is it? Almost 600 votes. 585
I don't want
votes.
to delete my tweet.
585 votes. Lamb is up. That 3% in Washington raised the I think it raised it by a couple hundred. It's pretty tight.
You still want to go to bed?
We'll stick in here for a bit. There's 540 vote difference.
Actually, the stats didn't prove true here. In what was remaining,
Yeah.
The stats actually didn't prove true. Where Allegheny County kind of moved a little bit closer to Saccone, and what was it? Washington County moved a little bit closer to Saccone. So
it was certain cities within those counties that were more heavily leaning Republican, and that kind of threw things off. I still think that Lamb's going to win this, but it's incredibly tight. He's only up by 0.2%.
Well, and we have 7% left in Washington County, and we have 1% in Westmoreland County, and 1% in Allegheny County. So it's really going to come down to what Washington County does here.
Somebody said there's 1,500 votes remaining in Washington. If that's true, then it's only going to favor Saccone by 150 votes if you extrapolate from what we've seen. But that
didn't
prove to be correct. It's going to be, if it is 1,500 votes remaining in Washington, and Washington is all that really matters right now, Saccone would have to win Washington by 66% of the vote, which is quite heavily favoring him, and I don't think that's possible. Is it possible? I guess it's possible, but not likely.
So, what are the odds here, Brad? Do you have a new odd? We said it was 99.9% certain that Conor Lamb was going to win. Do you still hold that true?
Yeah, he's still up by 585. And
are you surprised how close this was?
We knew it could have went either way.
I know, but are you surprised how close it was? It really was this close. We said, okay, it could go 50-50 either way. But do you really believe that it would be within a half a percentage point or less?
0.2 now.
I know, it's 0.2 of a percentage point. I mean, that's crazy. It's really insane that it was this close. And that's Conor Lamb. Saccone should have won this if it was a traditional year. Any other year, Saccone should have won this. But I think with Trump in office, people wanting to hold him accountable, they got out and voted for Lamb, and that's what made this so close.
Yeah, there's still 1,500 votes left. It appears somebody's saying Lamb's ahead by 900. I'm not seeing that on the New York Times site. I don't know where you're getting that information. You can let me know. Just type it in the box. I'm seeing Lamb's ahead by 585 votes right now.
What percentage is New York Times reporting right now? Can you check that, bro?
98%.
98, okay.
215,000 votes.
So, I know we said it. We know for sure who won by a certain time. By like I think we said 10:10, and we can't say with 100% certainty that Lamb won it, but we're pretty confident that he won it.
Yeah, CNN's reporting 585. That's what I'm seeing too. So I don't know how they got who said 900, but
let me ask you this: do you think Trump's sitting at home or sitting in the White House watching watching
us, right? Watching us,
right watching the numbers on CNN right now or Fox News?
Yeah, I think he definitely is.
I wonder, is Fox News even showing this? That would be, I don't hear anybody reporting anything about that Fox News is reporting.
Yeah, I don't know. I doubt anybody watching us is watching Fox. So.
That's a good point.
CNN's reporting 900 vote lead. I'm not seeing that, but maybe I'm missing something.
We're not watching CNN right
CNN.
Now. We're basically following New York Times tracker, and right now they say 98% of the votes are in. And
if it was 900, I'd be incredibly confident in my prediction.
Yeah. Well, I mean, somebody said CNN is fake news. So does that mean that Conor is not really winning the election?
CNN says 900 right now. Can anybody else confirm that other than Sweet Spot? Maybe Sweet Spot's fake. I'm sorry, Sweet Spot. I don't really mean that.
Somebody said Fox is talking about President HRC. Fox is talking about Hillary Clinton right now.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Like, I don't know if you're joking or if you're serious, and if you told me you were serious, I'd believe you, and you told me you're joking, I'd believe you.
Alright, so we're still waiting. There's nothing new coming from New York Times right now. It's still 585, and I believe CNN's also reporting 585. Yes, so I'm pretty confident Trump's watching the returns right now. I cannot see him not watching it unless his favorite show on Fox is on right now, which would be, I don't know, what's on, Laura Ingraham or something?
Or maybe he's helping Fox and Friends plan their episodes for tomorrow morning.
That's true.
Or calling them for policy advice.
So Fox is showing Lamb ahead. Well, that's good to know. They're not totally fake, I guess.
Don't use the word fake.
I don't like using that word because the word itself is fake because it's used by Trump so often.
Yeah, the other day I called something fake news and then I almost threw up because I realized what I just did.
Somebody said the 900 guy is drunk. Yeah, I'm not seeing 900 on CNN. I'm seeing 585. So maybe he's drunk or maybe he just got a little overexcited. Or maybe he's just...
maybe he's hanging out with Sam Nunberg.
Maybe he's psychic.
Yeah,
we interviewed Sam Nunberg yesterday. That was interesting. You can check out the article I wrote for ir.net. He gave some interesting commentary and some insight into things
he Nunberg told us a few things that we had to keep off the record, but we're going to keep pushing him to let us talk about them, I guess.
We want to try and get him on this show, the weekly show, but I'm not sure if he's going to do it or not.
Yeah, would you guys be interested in seeing Nunberg on this show?
And I'm sorry we're talking about this and not the election, but that's because nothing has updated in the last 15 minutes. Actually, we just got an update. Lamb is now up by 700.
And so what do we have here?
So his lead has increased, but Washington County is still at 93%. So his lead's increased to 700. That's definitely good news.
If you're for Lamb, like I'd say 99.9% of the people watching this are.
Yeah, is anybody watching this pulling for Rick Saccone?
Well, the Russian bots probably are. Are any of you guys Russian bots here?
If you are, say something in Russian. Yeah, so we interviewed Sam Nunberger. I had a phone call with him. We actually did one of these shows, and I called him, and he picked up and told me that he's incredibly busy getting his papers together for his grand jury appearance, and told me to call back next week. So I actually called him back, and he actually picked up, and he was very interested in talking.
He's actually a really nice guy.
Well, you say he's a nice guy. He comes off as a nice guy, but he had some racist Facebook posts. So
he was very friendly. Not that
Yeah.
the whole racism thing. We're not. I'd say if you're racist, you're probably not a nice person. Although if you're racist, you probably think you are a nice person.
Although he also claims he never made those Facebook posts, so give him the benefit of the doubt, I guess.
Or maybe he was drinking one night and
who knows? Yeah, something came out that he didn't want to say. But usually, when you're drinking and you say something,
you usually don't lie when you're drinking. You don't make crazy Facebook posts about things you don't believe in.
So Nunberg gave us some insight into a member of the Trump campaign who was actually using the campaign expense account as his own slush fund, I guess. He told us who it was. He told us it was off the record. I don't want to go against him here, but it was
off the record.
It was a high up individual within the campaign. He also told us that Mueller was incredibly interested in the Miss Universe pageant and asked him a lot of questions about that.
And Mueller had a lot of interest in Roger Stone. That was one of the key topics that they brought up. And as you might know, Nunberg actually calls Roger Stone his mentor.
Yeah. What else did he tell us? He told us some other things about other individuals that he went off the record about, but it was definitely interesting, and I think you guys are going to see some of it come to fruition over the next few months. I wish I could say more, but I want to kind of stay on good terms with him, and I want to try to get him on here, and maybe he'll tell you guys himself. All right, so there has not been an update yet. It's still a 700-point margin. Lamb's up by 0.4%, and we still have 2% to report.
So what do you want to do, Brian? Do you want to close it out, or do you want to keep going until... I feel like we might not get anything for a while.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do you guys want to do? Should we stay on for a little bit, or should we call it a night?
I mean, this could go on till midnight, and I have to be up at 4:30 tomorrow.
What do you be up for?
Just work stuff. So you want to stay on and do this, or get off and go to bed and wake up and hopefully see that Lamb won?
I think the comments are delayed a little bit. I think we start...
Yeah, no, the comments are delayed about 5 minutes or 2 minutes.
Well, actually, what we're saying is, I don't think you hear what we say for about a minute after we say it. So when Brian made that prediction that Lamb was going to win, he actually made that prediction a minute before you heard it. So that's even more impressive, right? Or he'll seem even more like a dumbass when his predictions come up being false.
Somebody said that there's 17 absentee ballots, not 17 yet to be counted, but 17 total, and half of them are coming from 17,000.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sorry, 7,000. See, I'm getting tired. And half are coming from Allegheny, which is the Democratic county. If that's true, that's definitely good for Lamb.
Yeah, I'm...
Okay, so we're finally getting all the people on there mostly saying stay. There is one person that says finish. I kind of like that idea, because I'm really tired.
Yeah, I'm exhausted. I actually went to the Minnesota Twins Baltimore Orioles spring training game today. Got some sun. Kind of tired out.
Are we twins? Yes, we're twins. If you watched our other shows that we do couple times a week, you would have known that.
Yeah, hey guys, you can follow us on Periscope. I know most of you follow us on Twitter. If you don't, you can see our Twitter accounts down there. But you can follow us on Periscope too, so you get notified when we go live on these shows. Don't ask me how to do that, but if you go to periscope.tv/Krassenstein, you'll be able to do that, I believe, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
We actually have a lot of Twitter comments coming in, but I don't know if my eyes are up for reading them right now.
Somebody says it's only 7:40 p.m. Yeah, in California or Nevada or Oregon or Washington, wherever you're from.
We're in Florida, so it's 10:37 right now.
But we did just have daylight savings time, so it's really kind of 9:37. My wife hates it when I do that every daylight savings time. It's really she doesn't like that. She gets mad.
All right, so here I'll go over some questions on Twitter, I guess. Susan Decker says, I won't feel comfortable until the absentee votes are counted. I believe most of the absentee votes have been counted, correct?
Yeah, and I believe that these numbers we're seeing that say Washington County has 93% of the vote. I think that 7% could include some of those absentee
I would think they are. Right?
So our extrapolation, which has somewhat been shaky, would include that. So it's. I'm actually surprised that nobody else has called it for Lamb yet. I think that I guess CNN or MSNBC has a lot more to lose by making a prediction than we do.
Yeah, like what if we're wrong? What are you gonna do? You know, not watch our show again? So instead of having 1,700 people, we'll have 1,699, or maybe 0. I don't know. So Kat on Twitter says stay. Doesn't want us to get off yet. Dan Daniels says so too. GD at HTFC says 2:36 a.m. in the UK, and I got work tomorrow. Wow, you're brave staying up. That's impressive that you're actually staying up to watch a U.S. congressional district election. You know, like I know I wouldn't be staying up to watch a congressional election in a district in the United Kingdom. That's impressive.
Yeah,
I guess that's how much Trump has put some of this stuff on the map for the whole world. You know.
Yeah, I mean. I actually get so many direct messages on Twitter from people in the UK who are extremely worried. Like I get more messages. It almost seems like I get more messages from just everyday people in the UK than I do from the United States, with people who are like shaking, like worried to death. And
they're afraid Trump's going to go nuclear and start bombing.
Well,
I got to answer something. So I mentioned I went to that spring training game today between the Twins and Orioles. And somebody said, "Aren't you a Phillies fan?" And yes, I'm a diehard Phillies fan. I like all the Philadelphia teams. But I actually went to. Somebody gave me tickets at the gym, and so I decided to take my son to the game. It was his first baseball game. He's 4 years old, so I thought it'd be fun to take him there. We only stayed for a few innings before he wanted to get up and run around, though.
Yeah. So the lead is still 700 votes. Things aren't changing on the New York Times website, but
somebody, Till Trump is gone on Twitter, just said that MSNBC is saying that half the absentee ballots are in Allegheny County.
Yeah, and that's what people are.
And they'll be counted before midnight, so we have another hour and 20 minutes before they're all be in. But Lamb won the election. I think we can say that with our full confidence now.
I'm confident he won. I'll sleep well tonight. Maybe slightly nervous.
I'll probably wake up at like 1 in the morning and look at my phone to make sure he won.
See if we had to delete those tweets.
Yeah, I don't want to leave that tweet up where we said congratulations to Conor Lamb if he didn't actually win.
We'll give it a few more minutes and see if things change, but we're both getting pretty tired and we both have to be up early, so let's see what happens in the next few minutes. But like Eddie said, I think we're both pretty confident.
This is an interesting comment that somebody just posted on Twitter, and they said, bad news, Greene and Washington counties will not be reporting their absentee votes tonight. Votes will be counted and posted tomorrow. I'm not sure how accurate that is. I wouldn't think that the reporting percentage would leave out absentees, would they? Where you see 100% reported in Greene County?
It shouldn't. But that's interesting. It does say 100% are reporting Greene County. Greene County did go to Saccone by a decent amount. I want to say by
it's a very small population, so
2,600 to 1,900. It's a decent amount. But yeah.
Well, the numbers aren't going up, so. I don't know. I think we should just call it a night. What do you think?
Well, it did change slightly. Lamb is now up by 755 votes. It was 700 before. So Lamb picked up a few. I'm not sure where these are. Oh, these came from Allegheny. So Allegheny is now 100% reporting. So you've got 2 counties that are red that still have yet to report, and he's only up by 700.
Well, I don't think we're going to get the results probably for a little while. And I don't know how accurate this tweet is that I've seen about the absentees not coming in until tomorrow.
Somebody said at MSNBC said Greene is not reporting until morning.
So that's what this person
Green
said.
shouldn't make much of a difference. Maybe a few dozen votes in favor of Saccone. They're saying Washington also won't be reporting until the morning. So,
all right, what do you say we go to bed, Bri? I'm really tired.
Yeah, I think we're gonna sign off. Let's just hope our prediction was right, and we don't have to scramble in the morning to delete our tweets.
We'll see all our followers on Twitter go in the morning. We got 3.
Either way, this was incredibly close. Even if somehow Lamb doesn't win here, I think that
it proved a lot.
I think
it
that
proved a ton.
I mean, Trump won by 20%. Murphy won by 28%.
Yeah,
those are both Republicans. So for it to be this close, even if Conor Lamb was to lose by half a percentage, it's not going to make a huge deal for the country having a Republican in there.
Yeah.
But it's just a statement that it's making,
exactly.
and what it's gonna get the Democrats even more excited for November. I feel, especially if Conor Lamb wins, and that's
Absolutely.
one more vote for impeachment if it comes down to that. So.
That's a good point, but we'll see. We'll see for sure once all the votes are in.
All right, so we're gonna sign off. Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, and by the way, we're in Fort Myers. Somebody asked we're in Florida. We're in Fort Myers, Florida.
Yeah,
Southwest Coast.
We do these shows usually during the week and cover Trump news. You can just follow us on Periscope or follow us on Twitter down below, and you'll see our live feed come up. But that's pretty much it. See you guys later.
Thank you.